Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1811B, and today's date is March 10th, 2019, and the title of the episode is Be Vigilant, Indictments Coming, Pain is Coming. Now, before I get started, I wanted to talk about the deep state. We know they continually push their goals, and we know that they try every trick in the book to scare the American people. And one of the best things you can invest in for your home and for your protection is a Patriot flashlight. Now, this flashlight is solar powered, so you're never going to waste money on batteries again. It has emergency strobe light, it has a USB port, it has a compass, rope, wire cutter, and a siren to ward off individuals. Patriot flashlight is the perfect gift for you and your family. Go to patriotflashlight.com, use the promo code X20 and get 20% off the Patriot flashlight. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, for those who don't know this, the countdown is continuing. We are at 9 days, and Q is filling us in what is going to happen during this period. Now, once we get to the 9th day, do you think it's all going to happen at once? No, I think it's going to happen very, very slowly, methodically, all planned out to trap the deep state. They have no clue at this point on where all of this is going. They know that something is happening, and you can see by everything that we've been talking about, they've been kept in the dark. There have been no leaks. There's been nothing. So it seems like nothing has been going on. But guess what? All the work, all the investigations, everything that we talk about has been going on behind the scenes. And yes, it is real. We see already that Bruce Ohr's, his testimony, well, it looks like it contradicts other senior government officials and key witnesses who testified before Congress regarding the FBI's investigation into Trump's 2016 campaign and alleged collusion with the Russian government. Ohr's 268-page testimony released by Republican member House Judiciary Committee Georgia Rep. Doug Collins, well, it reveals inconsistencies and contradictions in his testimony given by Glenn Simpson, founder of Fusion GPS, and deputy attorney, General Rod Rosenstein. It also reveals that many questions are still left unanswered. For instance, Glenn Simpson suggests in his testimony to the Senate that he never spoke to anyone at the FBI about Christopher Steele. This is the former British spy he hired to investigate the Trump campaign during the election. However, Ohr suggests otherwise. In another instance, Simpson's testimony also contradicts notes taken by Ohr after a meeting they had in December 2016. Unverified allegations were disseminated among the media that the Trump campaign had a computer server that was linked to a Russian bank in Moscow, which was Alpha Bank. Simpson suggested to the Senate that he knew very little about the Trump Alpha Bank server story and couldn't provide information. But Bruce Ohr, his own handwritten notes state that when he met with Simpson in December 2016, Simpson was concerned over the Alpha Bank story in the New York Times. The New York Times story on October 31st downplaying the connection between Alpha servers and the Trump campaign was incorrect. There was communication and it wasn't spam, stated Ohr's notes. This suggests that Simpson was well aware of the story, which was believed by congressional investigators to have started from his research firm. And there's many, many other areas where there's contradictions, where there's things that don't make sense. Basically, what is happening right now is that their stories are falling apart. Actually, there's new evidence right now that suggests Nellie Ohr was working for the CIA and Fusion GPS when she passed on the junk Trump Russia dossier and information on Trump children to the Department of Justice and FBI. The latest Freedom of Information requests indicate that Nellie Ohr was working for the Department of Justice in 2015-2016. This means Nellie Ohr was working for Fusion GPS and the Department of Justice at the same time. This implicates Rod Rosenstein. So, if Brennan is outed as the quarterback of the dossier scandal, and we see Rod Rosenstein has a problem because Nellie Ohr was working for Fusion GPS and the Department of Justice at the same time, and Rod Rosenstein was using this information, we also have Brennan, who was outed as the quarterback of the dossier scandal. Then by association, so must his boss, which would be Obama. And you can see that every time we look at this information, more and more information is coming to light. And more proof is coming to light. And more of it is coming out. Is this a coincidence? No. It was planned to come out at this time. It was planned to let everyone know who was doing what and who was responsible for what. They're being backed into a corner. That is what is happening right now. Donald Trump Jr., he believes that Jerry Nadler should recuse himself from all investigations pertaining to Russia. He tweeted out the following: "Wow, someone should investigate where that money is going after it's collected by the Russian agent, and Nadler should recuse himself from any Russian investigation pending review. Nadler campaign consultant working on behalf of Russian propagandists." So, Lachlan Markay reported the following: as the top Democrat of the House Judiciary Committee goes all out in the investigation of Trump's ties to Russian interests, one of his campaign consultants is working on behalf of a prominent employee of Russia's foreign propaganda apparatus. Ezra Friedlander is a lobbyist and a political consultant who runs outreach to the Orthodox Jewish community of behalf of New York Rep. Jerry Nadler's campaign. He's also a public relations executive, and his newest client is the wife of Kirill Vyshinsky, the head of Russian media outlet RIA Novosti's Ukrainian arm. And Donald Trump Jr. is just calling out, saying, listen, he has connections to Russia propagandists. He should recuse himself. Didn't they force Sessions to recuse himself because he spoke to a Russian? Very interesting. We've now come to learn, and reports are surfacing, that Chairman Adam Schiff dispatched his staff members to coach Michael Cohen on his testimony on 4 occasions in New York, prior to his congressional appearance totaling more than 10 hours. Everything was rehearsed and scripted. Now, these latest developments explain why the Cohen testimony was delayed. Political Democrat operatives working with Cohen handler Lanny Davis worked through a training and coaching process for maximum effect. This coordinated process is also why Cohen was given a deferment to the beginning of his prison sentence. None of this should be a surprise to anyone who followed all of this. Actually, Jim Jordan actually called all of them out on this and said this was all scripted. Lanny Davis created all of this. This is why Q always tells us, enjoy the show. Tom Fitton tweeted out the following: at Judicial Watch uncovers major Ohr Steel Fusion GPS collusion docs, plus did Schiff conspire with Cohen to smear at real Donald Trump? Absolutely. We also see certain deep state actors, they're starting to panic. Remember all those individuals that were caught up in process crimes and lying with the Mueller investigation? And a lot of these people are saying, oh, they should get prison sentences. This, I do believe, was a complete setup. They wanted to make the case that, listen, if you lie, you can go to jail. Who lied to Congress? Who lied to the American people? Brennan, Clapper, Clinton, Comey, Ohr, Pay, you name it. They all lied. Clapper right now, he is panicking. Remember way back when Senator Ron Wyden asked Clapper a simple question: if the NSA collects any type of data at all on millions of or hundreds of millions of Americans? And Clapper responded, no, sir, not wittingly. Well, take a listen.
So what I wanted to see is if you could give me a yes or no answer to the question, does the NSA collect any type of data at all on millions or hundreds of millions of Americans?
No, sir.
It does not.
Not wittingly. There are cases where they could inadvertently, perhaps, collect, but not wittingly.
Now, it seemed like this was a very easy, straightforward question. Do you or do you not collect, millions or hundreds of millions of data on the American people? Clapper said no. Some get in, but that's just a fluke. Well, it looks like he's backtracking on all this right now. He's trying to say that he misunderstood the question back in 2013. Why do you think he's saying this? Why do you think he's saying, well, I really didn't lie. It wasn't a lie. It was a misunderstanding. Because he knows what's going to happen. Actually, Ron Wyden, he tweeted out the following. James Clapper needs to stop making excuses for lying to the American people about mass surveillance. To be clear, I sent him the question in advance. I asked him to correct the record afterward. He chose to let the lie stand. So boom, once again, he's caught in this lie and he's trying to get out of it. But guess what? It's too late. He already lied. The same with all the others. Now we know that Trump, he is building the wall. He's using all the funds that he accumulated, not from the national emergency, from other places. And he's replacing parts of the wall. He's building new sections of the wall. And he tweeted out the following. Wacky nut job at Ann Coulter, who still hasn't figured out that despite all odds and an entire Democratic Party of far left radicals against me, not to mention certain Republicans who are sadly unwilling to fight, I am winning on the border. Major sections of the wall are being built and renovated, with much more to follow shortly. Tens of thousands of illegals are being apprehended, captured at the border, and not allowed into our country. With another president, millions would be pouring in. I am stopping an invasion as the wall gets built. And he is stopping all of this. And we have to remember, there is a reason the wall is going up. First, to stop all the illegals coming in and having the deep state use them to sway the votes. The other is to stop the blending of this country and to stop human trafficking, drug trafficking, weapons trafficking, and everything else. And this will stop and shut down the deep state once the wall goes up, and they know it. This is why they've been fighting so hard. Actually, across Europe, they are now pushing back, and they have been pushing back against the EU. Because the EU, they're planning to resettle migrants across the EU, but Hungary will have none of it. They said absolutely not. And the EU right now, they're pushing this counter campaign called Facts About the EU Migration Policy, which declared that you also have the right to know what is fact and what is fiction. And Hungary, well, they're countering that, saying, yeah, they're not giving you all the facts. They're lying to you, and here are the real facts. Though they're countering what the EU is trying to do. And we know from Soros, he's behind a lot of this. And this is why he's been going to Africa, trying to bring people up throughout Europe, because everything that they tried to do within the Middle East, that is being shut down. We see there was a power outage in Venezuela, and the minister, Jorge Rodriguez, this is the Venezuela's communication and information minister, they believe that this was a cyber attack, and they find it very suspicious that shortly after the failure, Rubio shared specific information on Twitter about the emergency that even local authorities were not even aware of at the time. This means Marco Rubio had knowledge of all this before anybody else. How is that possible unless you're behind it? And we know the deep state, we know the neocons, they've been pushing to get into Venezuela and have regime change for a very long time. I believe what Trump and the Patriots are doing right now, they're exposing everything they're doing at this point. Trump right now, he's going to be hosting the Brazilian president on March 19th. They're going to be talking about Venezuela. I'm thinking that Trump right now is going to be talking to all the different countries right now to put all of this to rest and work out some type of deal where everyone is cooperating, and they're cooperating in a good economic way, almost like North Korea. I know there's a lot of mainstream outlets out there saying that, oh, North Korea, they're either doing a satellite launch or a missile launch. We don't know which. This is all propaganda. You're going to see, most likely in a couple of weeks or maybe a month, all of a sudden you're going to see things really switch around, and the mainstream media, they're going to look like fools once again. And I do believe that Trump down in the South American area, we know there's a lot of deep state neocon activity in this area pushing a certain agenda, and I believe Trump is going to start to reverse all of this. And this is why he allowed the deep state, the neocons, to push their agenda in Venezuela. They're tracking, and also you can see who is on your side and who is not on your side, and you can see and gather evidence on everything they do. This is what Q and team has been doing to all of the deep state operatives for 2 years now. What do you think all these investigations were about? They are monitoring and investigating everything they're doing. And what better way to trap these individuals but to let them either continue with what they were doing or try to cover it up and monitor them in real time. But it's all going to be coming out. Let's get into Q's post right now. Post 3004. Q puts the number 1, it's bold, in brackets. This is kill brackets. So number 1 gives us a link to a Twitter account. This is Paul Sperry. And the Twitter link says, breaking. McCabe investigated not just Trump, but Sessions to ordering the Sessions probe was another unprecedented partisan action that has been forgotten, said former federal prosecutor Solomon L. Weissenberg, partner of Nelson Mullins in Washington. There's an article also that is linked to Paul Sperry's tweet, and it says McCabe investigated not just Trump, but Sessions too. Then Q says Sessions Senate vote 52-47. Compares it to Rod Rosenstein. Now, Rod Rosenstein is in kill brackets, all bold caps, RR. Senate vote 94-6. Sessions was a true and real vote. Rod Rosenstein, they were blackmailed, and the vote was 94-6. I mean, that's just a little ridiculous. Do you target your enemies or your allies? Q asks. Why was Sessions targeted? Sessions was going to investigate all these individuals. He wasn't under the deep state control. Who appointed Huber? Q asks. Sessions. Q says, who had direct oversight over Huber? Rod Rosenstein. Then Q says, Deputy Attorney General also listed for optics? Yes. Who really had oversight over Huber? It was Sessions. No leaks, none. Who fired, removed the traitors within the FBI Department of Justice? Sessions. Do you believe the timing is coincidence? No. Even though you hear Trump today say, oh, I don't even know why I picked Sessions. He did a terrible job. This is part of the show. He's continually keeping it going. He'll keep it going until the very end. He doesn't want the deep state to understand or to know what is going on. They are kept in the dark. Number 2, another Twitter link. This is U.S. Attorney Huber. This is what it says. U.S. attorneys thoroughly enjoyed our time with Attorney General Barr this week. He is a solid, proven leader with a clear vision for the Department of Justice. We will move forward with his priorities, hold offenders accountable, and advance the rule of law. This is an arrow pointing to clear vision for the Department of Justice. This is an arrow pointing towards hold offenders accountable. This is an arrow pointing to advance the rule of law. So, Attorney General Barr and team are going to have a clear vision for the Department of Justice. They're going to hold offenders accountable, and they're going to advance the rule of law. They're going to follow the rule of law. Q says, do you believe the timing is a coincidence? No. This is military planning. Number 3, Q says. It's another Twitter link, says 2020 Republicans. Let's read this. Sean Hannity, people will be held accountable as new evidence surfaces on multiple fronts. Do you believe the timing is a coincidence? Absolutely not. Sean Hannity and Sarah Carter, John Solomon, and others are being fed certain information to bring all of this to light. Number 4, there's a documentcloud.org link, and this is the Department of Justice Huber Directive. Now, this doc link has the following. There's a letter, which is dated March 8th, 2019. This is the Freedom of Information request. Within the request is the following. Sessions called upon Huber to look into any matters that were not under investigation and start investigating. Hint, Uranium One, Clinton Foundation, and everything else. There is a letter from the Associate Attorney General, Stephen Boyd, to Bob Goodlatte. This letter states that the federal prosecutor is now assigned to investigate matters such as Uranium One and the Clinton Foundation. There is also an email from Matt Whitaker to John Huber, and it says, as we discussed. Whitaker was Sessions' chief of staff. Why wasn't all this released? Well, because they were investigating. Because if it got out, the deep state would have sabotaged all these investigations. This is why Q continually said you don't need a special prosecutor, a special counsel to push these investigations. They were already happening. When everyone said, well, Huber didn't speak to anyone, Q always says, but, there's an investigation going on, even though he didn't speak to someone. Everything is happening behind the scenes. It might not have been Huber, but there might have been others that were speaking to certain individuals or getting the information. Maybe like Tom Fenton. We don't know. Q says, do you believe the timing is a coincidence? Brackets, bold, minus 21Q. Right now, we are in the middle of the countdown from something big happening. Remember that post 2903? Let's go back to it for just a moment. This is February 26. And Annan said, feeling like Annan's in U.S. will be up late tonight following POTUS Q in Vietnam. Q says it's going to be historic. Planned long ago. Brackets, bold, minus 21. Within the next 21 days, big happenings are going to take place. Well, since February 26, we are now at day 9 and counting. Post 3005. Q puts up a Donald Trump tweet, and it says, terrible. Just found out that the Obama had my wires tapped in Trump Tower just before the victory. Nothing found. This is McCarthyism. This was back March 4th, 2017. Q says, the President of the United States told you who authorized the targeting. Things that Trump say, he just doesn't say them. He will prove them later on. Remember, the Patriots have it all. They know it all. And some of the things that were said, the mainstream media made fun of, but it was done on purpose to get it out into the public eye. And everything later on will be backed up. Post 3006. This is Nellie Ohr with an arrow pointing to CIA with a question mark. There are others within the FBI Department of Justice linked to the CIA. Gave us a Washington Post article. This is when ex-spies go rogue by becoming lawmakers. The article says, once Abigail Spanberger embraced the secret life of a CIA operative. She never imagined breaking cover. Leaving the CIA was the biggest loss of my life. I moored in the agency. I miss it every day, said Spanberger. She's one of 3 former CIA officers who will serve in the new Congress. What access does a House member have, Q asks. Members of Congress don't really have clearances. What access does a House committee member have? Well, they could have some security clearances, but they need to apply for it. Think Brennan, this is in kill brackets bold, spy campaign pointing to U.S. Senate. What happens when the CIA targets spy insertion, the executive, House, Senate, Department of Justice, FBI, state, etc., branches of the United States government? How many so-called former CIA agents ran for the House elections in 2018? 57 individuals ran for the Democratic nomination in 44 congressional districts. They either had intelligence or military backgrounds. What party? The Democratic Party, and that's in D and bold. What happens when the CIA targets spy plus tech insertion of Google, FBI, LifeLog, Twitter, etc.? Well, it's blanket spying everywhere. Gave us a link to Fox News, and it says Mark Zuckerberg's conference room has a secret panic shoot, the report says. So Zuckerberg is said to have a number of different measures to protect themselves, including a Praetorian Guard, implemented in case an employee tries to rush him when he's at a company all-hands meeting, as well as the aforementioned panic shoot. He also has access to a large glass walled conference room in the middle of the space near his desk that features bullet-resistant windows and a panic button. There is a persistent rumor among Facebook employees that he has a secret panic chute. His team can evacuate him down to get him out of the office in a hurry. Q says, what happens when people wake up to the fact that Facebook is a cover for LifeLog DARPA? Well, people might be a little angry that the government has been spying on them and this whole thing was fake to get all of our information. What happens when people discover all RT data inputs, listening cameras, GPS is being harvested and made accessible to Langley? Again, people are not going to be happy about this. You're doing this behind their back. It's completely against the Constitution. Charter of the NSA, domestic and foreign. Charter of the CIA, foreign, not domestic. Forbid law. Why is the CIA conducting an active umbrella collection campaign? Stringer tangents to 9 against all U.S. citizens through LifeLog, Facebook. Absorb, TAN, targeting. They want to know what everyone is doing. They also want to use it for blackmail. Bypass data encryption on phone, tablet, etc. Primary focus on elected officials. Primary focus on elected officials in key subcommittees. Can activation occur of recording local on-device pre-SCIF entry? Yes. No logs, no keys, ghost in, ghost out. People only engage security plus escape vehicles when they have something very serious to fear. What is that fear for Mark Zuckerberg? That his whole entire empire was built on a lie. That he's been spying on the American people all along. This project was implemented and run by the CIA. And the cover was Facebook, where you can contact and talk to your family, friends, and neighbors and whatnot. The whole thing is a scam. Post 3007. Q says, why are Sarah and John getting all the real scoops? Expand your thinking. Why are they now under protection? Under this gave us a link to Twitter. This is Sarah Carter. Sarah Carter is responding to Paul Sperry's tweet. Breaking. This is what Paul Sperry says. McCabe, who's under the grand jury investigation for lying about leaking in early 2017, ordered FBI's inspection division to open internal probe into who leaked to Sarah Carter and John Solomon at Circa News that McCabe had many disparaging remarks about General Flynn in staff meetings. She said, well, I heard rumors. Define projection. Q. Post 3008, and Annan posted a tweet from Trump and compared it to a post by Q, and basically this is the zero delta Q proof showing that Trump tweeted the following. This is just the beginning. This is at 5:50 p.m. and we see a post by Q which we just read, and that is at 5:50 with about 16 seconds, so zero delta. Under this it says statistically impossible. Q, post 3009, and Annan posted the entire graphic showing the zero delta. And down below, Q says zero delta, Q in before POTUS. Post, and this is just another Q proof, continually doing this for all the new people that are coming on board who don't believe that Q is real. Post 3010, Q posted a tweet from Trump. This was back in September 5th, 2018, and it says treason. And Q says, it's about to happen. Be vigilant. Q. Well, what's about to happen? Well, looks like Q explains it to us in post 3011. Sealed to unsealed. Indictments coming. So it looks like the indictments are going to be unsealed. And it looks like there's going to be trials. People are going to be tried for treason. Q says be vigilant. Remember about false flags. Remember about events. Remember when the truth comes out, when it does come out, the deep state, they plan certain events to cover it all up. Now, I believe the Mueller report is going to be coming out, but I don't think they're going to do anything with the Mueller report. I think they're going to do what comes next. and that is the D-Class, the OIG report, the unsealing of all these indictments, people starting to hear what is really going on. And the mainstream media, the deep state, they don't want people to hear the truth. And I mentioned in my previous reports that there were 2 videos that were restricted, and that had to do with false flags in multiple cities, which is kind of odd because they were 4 years old. So once again, Q is telling us to be vigilant, be careful, because once this news breaks, anything can happen. Post 3012, Q refers us back to post 2042. And basically what this post is in 2042, and this was back on August 31st, 2018, Q explains how the Obama surveillance plan worked. And that's what this whole post is about. Q also gave us a Twitter link from George Papadopoulos, and it says, people do understand that the guys the book was thrown at, me, Manafort, Flynn, had FISAs on them. Q says, patriots stand at the ready and prepared for what is about to come. The Great Awakening. People are going to be woken up now. And for those who are in a deep, deep sleep, it's going to be difficult. Post 3013 gave us a Twitter link to the Daily Beast. And it says, exclusive, the Department of Justice just unearthed a letter Matt Whitaker delivered to the Utah U.S. Attorney directing a review of how the department handled the Clinton Foundation and the Uranium One issues. Exclusive? Q says, 1.5 years behind Annan's. Remember, Q is referring to the letter that Sessions wrote to Huber that Whitaker, followed up on. We already knew those investigations were going on. They're all just finding out about it now, and it was done on purpose. Post 3014, and Annan posted a meme, and this is a bomb, and it says, Moab, which is the mother of all bombs, headed towards the deep state. Under this, it says, Annans understand now why we've been targeted daily by the fake news media and shills. Today, they are learning the truth. You have been prepared for what is about to take place. Dark to light. Enjoy the show. Where we go one, we go all. Post 3015 gave us an MSN.com link. This is if exists, and this is the same thing the Daily Beast just reported. If exists, Department of Justice finds letter ordering scrutiny of Uranium One Hillary Clinton. And it says, after it claimed no such document existed, the Justice Department just unearthed a letter Matt Whitaker delivered to the Utah U.S. Attorney directing a review of how the department handled the Clinton Foundation and the Uranium One issues. Then Attorney General Jeff Sessions wrote the letter on November 22, 2017 for Utah U.S. Attorney John Huber. Matt Whitaker, who was Sessions' chief of staff at the time, emailed the letter to Huber that day, writing, as we discussed. He also sent Huber a copy of the letter the Justice Department's Congressional Affairs chief sent to the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee on November 13th of that year. Q says it strains credulity to believe that the Justice Department didn't know about this letter when they swore under penalty of perjury that it didn't exist. You don't exactly forget about a formal directive to investigate Hillary Clinton signed by Jeff Sessions, he added. The fact that they only found it the same week Matthew Whitaker was heading for the exit makes it hard to see the Department of Justice's previous denial as anything but a deliberate attempt to conceal. Sessions and Whitaker shouldn't escape accountability by skipping town. Scaramucci model. How do you keep a secret? How do you prevent leaks? Temps. And then you remove them. Post 3016. Q gives us a link to Sarah Carter. And it says, a vote for illegals. At Speaker Pelosi says new immigrants must not have their votes suppressed. Q says the real reason they want open borders? For votes. Follow the maps. Illegal immigrants first, Americans last. They are afraid of losing power, and this is in brackets and bold and caps, forever. They should be. Welcome to the D Party. Q. Post 3017 gives us a Twitter link. And the Twitter link says, the gentleman speaks a lot of truth. He's correct. He is and were all victims of discrimination for supporting Trump. This man, his father, refused to buy into the liberal agenda of all whites are racist and BLM's crap, nor does he want his children to. Take a listen.
I have a Trump 2016 sticker on my car, or Trump Make America Great Again, and people ask me, they'll see me get out the car and they'll go, "Is that your car?" And I go, "Yeah, it's my car." With the Trump sticker, I go, "Yeah." They go, "You're a Trump supporter?" I go, "Yeah, aren't you?" So it's just crazy, man. It's just amazed that I actually have to justify it. And the only reason they ask those questions is because of the color of my skin. The crazy part is, we use the words like discrimination and racism. We hear them all the time, but the reality of it is I think I'm a victim of discrimination just by the fact that I'm not going with the crowd. The fact that I'm thinking for myself and decide to become a conservative and vote for President Trump, vote for the Republican ticket. I'm a disgrace to my party, as some people think. I'm a disgrace to the history of blacks in America, and that's just ridiculous. I was born in 1971. I wasn't a victim of Jim Crow. I didn't have to sit in the back of a bus. I didn't have to do any of that. I think I've grown up in a country where words like that, and I'm not saying that racism doesn't exist, but the reality of it, the way that most people want you to think about it, especially people on the left and the Democratic Party, is that it's happening every day. That I can't walk down the street without the fear of some police officer shooting me is ridiculous. I grew up. I have a family. I'm a business owner, and I don't want my daughters to grow up in a country believing that. And that's another reason why we're here today. And we want to just be an example and give other people permission to say, you know what, I'm willing to step out there too, because I don't agree with that stuff, no matter what they say.
I believe that explains it all. And under this, Q says, the Great Awakening, attempts to divide will fail. Patriots have no skin color. Q. Post 3018 gave us a Twitter link to HRT Ablaze, and the link says, Hispanics against illegal immigration. There are millions and millions of us, but fake news won't report this, so patriots must. God bless this amazing woman. Take a listen to what she says.
For president, the ones that don't like it, then they should go back to their country where they're from and correct their government instead of trying to correct ours. So therefore, hello to everybody that is out there, freeloaders, get back to your countries. And there's nothing racial that I'm talking about. I'm talking about people that come here, take advantage of food stamps, Medicaid, everything else that comes along. And especially the young ladies that come and pop their kids here just so they can have the key to the USA. That is no more. I got married young too, and I had only one daughter because I could only afford one daughter. And therefore, you all should limit your amounts to what you can afford and get yourselves a job. Until you get a job, then you know what I'm talking about. In the meantime, there's a lot of illegals that say, why work when everything's given to us? We need to stop accepting so many illegals. And I'm calling from the area of El Paso, Texas, which we have 5 borders of entry. And every day, there's hundreds and hundreds of illegals. Here, we have attorneys that help them with the visas. They even pay for their visas. We have churches, places where they're immediately, once they're over here, they get housing, they get shelter, they get food, they get a bed, they get medical attention, they even get educated so they can stay. Well, let me tell you, I worked very hard all my life. And you ought to see how I'm living now. Why? Because my money that I earned all through these years is given to all these people that are not even from here. I'm fed up of it, just like a lot of people here in El Paso area are fed up. And God bless you all, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Mayor, are you originally from here?
Yes, I am.
And your parents?
My parents, my mother has been in the United States for 70 years. She's 90 now, and she came legally. She did what she had to do.
Where did she come from?
Zacatecas, Mexico.
Mexico.
Yes.
Mexican descent.
Yes, and my father is American. So therefore, I was born an American, and I'm proud to be an American. Even though sometimes, believe me, if the government doesn't change.
Under this, it says, the Great Awakening, attempts to divide will fail. Patriots have no skin color. So everyone brace yourself. The countdown is continuing. The sealed indictments are now going to be unsealed. Arrests will be made. And this countdown will continue. And we'll get to many different sections because if you go back, remember there was a countdown for 30, 60, 90. So we're going to have many different things happening at different time placements. So remember, we're going to have this countdown in 9 days. Something big is going to happen. Now remember, the mainstream media, the deep state, they're going to fight this all the way. And when the big Moab hits, I would expect something big to happen on their end to counter everything that is going on and to basically try to control the news cycle so people don't hear what is going on. So once again, we are counting down 9 days until the hammer hits. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.